And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 30-day challenge, the BCR Technique, day number 25. Well, we only got about 5 days left. It's not 31 days, 30 days. Got 5 days left of the BCR Technique challenge, so we're nearing the end of this really wonderful challenge. Like I said, I've really enjoyed just coming on here every morning and share all this information with you about the BCR Technique, and I'm seeing how you guys are putting it to work, how you're using it, how it's benefiting you. It's just a wonderful thing to see. It's really, really great. It's like I said, I only had those couple of videos about the BCR Technique presentation in the past, and it got some decent attention, right? But when we're actually doing this challenge, it really makes a difference. So I'm really happy to people who suggested this idea, because it was not my idea to do the 30-day challenge. It was actually something that was suggested from the audience, right? That multiple people agreed with. And here we are doing the BCR Technique 30-day challenge, and so many people are benefiting from it. So it's, again, just a wonderful thing to see and a wonderful thing to be a part of. So again, thank you everybody, and welcome everyone who's on the chat. Good to see you all here today. So for day number 25, again, it's not going to be too long of a video today. Like I said, I do have sessions coming here later this morning, my time. So basically we're just going to briefly go over more of the life circle healing altogether. And like I said, I know that some people have contacted me and they say, well, you know what, Brett, I do have some pretty harsh traumas regarding, my parents or my family, right? Even like old careers. Like, again, I've had a lot of abuse happen to me in the past. Is the BCR technique really going to help me with that? And the answer is yes, it will. But like I said, you're the one that is working with this technique. You're the one that's giving it all its power, right? It's the power is coming through you. The strength is coming through you. And like I said, regardless of what you've been through, if we are very serious and committed, and we are, again, being consistent with doing the BCR technique every day, and we're getting used to being up here, that's what's going to make the difference. And I know a lot of people have had horrific traumas throughout their life. As a little kid, moving up into teenage years, adulthood, right? It happens. Absolutely. I've worked with thousands of people all over the world who have had some very, very severe traumas throughout their entire life, where they've had post-traumatic stress disorder, right? PTSD. Even those people can continue to work together with the BCR technique, right? Because again, PTSD brings you into such a low base, horrific state of being, right? So we're working together with that. I was actually talking with someone who does have that, and with that situation, they said, well, I just want to be able to remedy this situation. I want to be able to get through this physical situation. And I said, well, you can, but the scars are still going to remain with you, right? So you can certainly physically resolve any matters that you are going through that have represented a lot of troublesome nature with yourself. But that's not what's going to heal your scars, right? The scars that represent that stress, that trauma, again, that is embedded in your etheric body, right? So even if you're looking to resolve a matter in the physical realm, right, in the physical life, that's great, but we still need to take care of a lot of the emotional debris. And the only way we're going to do that is working together with love energy, right? That's the key to it, is working with spirit, working with love, getting yourself high. Right? We cannot resolve a problem at the same level, right? Goes back to that Einstein quote. You cannot solve a problem at the same level that it took to create it. You have to see yourself anew. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're lifting ourselves up. We're moving up to Mount Olympus. We're going beyond the gods. We're feeling our love. This is where we have to tap into the heart, right? And I'm actually quite amazed, because there's quite a few people that are still feeling foreign to the idea of actually being in their heart, right? They stay down here. They still stay in the lower branches, so to speak, of their being. I said, you got to move up higher, right? You got to bring out that joy. Even if it's something that is just a precious moment that maybe was pretty faint, that's what we work with. We work with something that is small, with it that is faint, and we brighten it up. We make it stronger, right? And the greatest way to really channel that love within yourself is to work with the inner child, right? Because like I said, the child is the most intelligent part of yourself. The adult isn't. The adult's dumb. It's the inner child that contains all the love. So when we start sparking that up, right, I say go back to when you were innocent. Go back to when you're 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. Go back to a point of childhood where you just felt like you had a wonderful day. Everything just felt great. You were laughing, you were smiling, you were joyful. And just take that moment and expand it. Make it bigger, right? And then you're on your way. That's all you got to do. So that's all I want you to focus on, is just take that joyful moment and expand it and make that your reinforcement space, right? So as you're doing the breath work, as you're going into calmness, as you go into the reinforcement space, and now you're expanding that bubble, and you're just taking that little spark that represented your inner child, and you're expanding it. And you may not get there all the way in one day, but nonetheless, you're continuing to work with expanding that little spark. And now it's becoming a beautiful fire. And now it's becoming a raging inferno of love, because you're continuing to nurture it every single day. A baby is not just going to all of a sudden turn into an adult, right? A baby goes through their growth process. They go from a newborn, they go from a toddler, they go from a young child, and they work their way up through the natural growth. So this is exactly what we have to do as well too. We have to take that little infancy of love within ourselves, even if it's very, very small, and we need to nurture it, right? Just like a mother will nurture her baby through breastfeeding every single day, giving that baby everything that he or she needs to grow strong, to grow healthy, to grow well, and then over time, watching that baby turn into a child, into a teenager, into an adult, and it is all through that process. The same thing goes with our love energy. Love energy, again, is that newborn. You're nurturing it. You're putting love into it, even if it's small, right? And you're letting it grow, and you're letting it expand, right? So like I said yesterday, this is not a race, okay? We're not looking to go to a finish line. There is no finish line, right? This is not a race. This is not a competition. You are not in competition with each other. You're not in competition with anybody. Love has no competition, right? Love simply is. It's who you are. So don't feel like because we have 30 days, I need to get ahead, I need to get somewhere here, because there's only 30 days on this thing. If I don't meet that, maybe I'll miss something. No. You have these recordings, right? You have this 30-day challenge that you can continue to do, and it will continue as I work with the New Earth practices as well too, right? So regardless of any family traumas that you've had, any particular form of family healing, right? Whether you've had some animosity towards your parents, your siblings, your best friend, whatever it may be, it's all capable of being healed as long as we're able to nurture that love, right? So this is why we do the breath work. Whenever we're stressed out, what is it that always brings us back to our center? It's our breath, right? Our breath always brings us back to center. So when we're hyperventilating, we're getting anxious, things are just falling apart around us. My God, what do I do? Okay, stop. Take a deep breath in and out, right? It's those cleansing breaths. Those cleansing breaths are what's going to make a difference, and you do them as many times as you need to until you're in that active calmness, right? Once you're there, then we move on to phase 2, and we move on to heart rate variability, and now we start to settle those waves. Now we're in subtle calmness, and now we move forward into our reinforcement space. So this is always the way, right? Does not matter. I don't care if you have the most stress-filled day in the entire history of the universe, okay? You go to the breath. The breath will always settle you down. You do all those amounts of breath you need to bring yourself into active calmness. The key here is we have to catch ourselves, because we go into trance. We go into trance in the outside world. They, oh my God, this is happening, and the world's falling apart, and this is taking place, and all these things are intense, and oh my God, catch yourself. Catch yourself, right? Breathe. Just breathe. Cleanse yourself. Do those cleansing breaths. Get yourself in that active, calm state. Good. Now go into subtle calmness through heart rate variability. And you're doing it, right? Using the nose, nasal breathing. 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out, 5 seconds in, 7 seconds out, 6 seconds in, 8 seconds out, whatever pattern, whatever rhythm you want to do that you feel you can. And now everything starts to smooth itself out. Now we go into reinforcement. We're nurturing that flame that the love is, and we're accumulating more love energy, right? This is where we really work with the power of our imagination. The love energy coming through our heart, saying, here's this. Oh, this is great. Now I'm going to add to it. I'm going to add more creativity to this flame. That again, it's not about eye candy. It's about love, right? So that's our space. So again, like I was talking about yesterday, you want to make sure you're creating a profile for the major key players that you're working with your mom, with your dad, with your brother, with your sister, with your grandparents, right? With your children, with your partner, with everybody that again represents the major key players in your life through your life circle. So that really is the first step. Once we get past the variance, right? So once we're done with the variance, now we move into the life circle. Okay, so I know the very first person I want to work with is my mom, right? So I'm going to put information down relating to some hard times, to some challenges, to some conflicts that I've been going through. Now again, we're not attaching to those conflicts. We're just observing. Remember, like I said, we're like a spirit journalist. Okay, you got the journalist hat on, and you're just making these observations in regards to what you've gone through, right? So you may feel like there was a little bit of feeling of being upset because you have written something down. It does flash back with you. Okay, if you're getting upset, that's understandable. Go back to the breath, right? Okay, this can happen. You're going through some very, very emotional memories relating to your parent, okay? So again, if that does happen, just catch yourself, right? And just take deep breaths. Remember, we're not attaching to those outcomes. We're just observing them, okay? And like I said, once you get into that reinforcement space, and once you are with your parent, your mom, your dad, or whoever is the major player within your life, remember that they're very still. You're not having a conversation with them really. Okay, you can say I love you and embrace them, but it's more so about just being there, being present with them, because this is your version of who you really want them to be. Okay? It's not the idea of the version of what has been created in the physical realm. You're taking all of that and you're leaving that behind, right? When we're going into the reinforcement space, we're taking the ego out of it, right? So we're now bringing this hologram of the major key player, like I said, for the example was the mother, okay? And we've filled ourselves up. We're at Mount Olympus. We're 10 out of 10, okay? We turn left, we turn right. There she is, okay? And now, through our love energy that we're bringing into her, she is now moving up to Mount Olympus with us because it's all love. You are answering her with love, with all of that love that you have accumulated, because we don't even work with the major key player until we're out here, until we're 10 out of 10. If we're here, we don't work with her. Okay? We're here, we don't work with her. We want to be fully outstretched. We want to have 10 out of 10 on the love scale before we're able to work with anybody. Okay? That includes your variance. That includes your major key players of your life circle. Okay? That even includes yourself, right? So even when you're working with the present self, you don't even start working on yourself. You don't make those commands to your heart. You don't make those commands to your love energy entity until you're 10 out of 10 on the scale. Once you're 10 out of 10, now you can start commanding your love energy, but we do not do that before. Okay? So this again is the gauge. We're filling up the cup. We're making sure that the love energy is filled to the brim so we can drink it down. And we drink down that entire cup of love, and now we command it. Right? That's all we're doing. So again, as you continue to work with your life circle, have your profile. Okay, so here's the timeline. Timeline is here. Here's the bold points. Here's what happened. Here's 4 or 5 points that I remember in regards to the situation with my mom. And then I again look at 3 bodies, right? So what is this telling me in regards to my physical body, my emotional body, my mental body, right? So the question may be, well, do I write down what's happening to my physical body with 1 point or all points? I said, well, you go paragraph by paragraph, right? So if there's something here in regards to a trauma with your mom, a fight that took place, how did your physical body feel with that fight? How did your emotional body feel with that fight? How did your mental body feel with that fight? Okay. Then there's the second paragraph. Here's more data, okay? What happened with your emotional body with that situation? How about the emotional body? How about the mental body? And that's what we're doing. We're just continuing to go down the list of everything that we have put forward through that profile. Okay, so we're creating a profile and we're just looking at, again, our life interaction together with that major key player. Right? So again, you could have up to 10 or 15 points. Okay, that's fine. And again, we're just putting each of those points appropriately into those three bodies: the physical, the emotional, and the mental, just one paragraph at a time. And once we go through all the paragraphs, we have all this stuff here. Now we're familiar with it, right? We're familiar with all those things. But once we fill ourselves up 10 out of 10 on the love scale in the reinforcement space, all of that's not even going to really matter, right? Because you're so filled with love, and now you see your mom here, and all you're doing is approaching her and filling her up with that love. So you may see her again as a luminous body. You may see her in that sense, just feeling all this kind of pink energy around her, gold energy around her, whatever it may be, however you interpret that you're bringing love into her. You're just embracing her with a hug. That works as well too, right? You're just hugging her and you're just saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, right? And that's filling her up. Whatever you're doing that's filling her up to 10 out of 10 on the love scale, that's what matters, right? Once she's at 10 out of 10, you may notice that when I was doing it with my mom yesterday, right? She was smiling, she was happy, she was crying, right? I could feel it. And there was just nothing but pure love and just embracing her, right? That's it, right? So just let it flow as it needs to. Don't try to control anything. You're just sending her love and you're just witnessing how she feels. If it's your mom, for example, right? And you're just letting her energy move up 10 out of 10 alongside you above Mount Olympus, right? And that's all it takes, okay? So it is a very simple process altogether. Once we go into the reinforcement space, we fill ourselves up with love, and we're just contributing, we're sharing that love together with our loved ones, right? And that's it. Once that happens, once they're 10 out of 10, right, and they leave your space, that is how you choose to see them from that point forward. You choose to see them as this loving person, right? You have that 10 out of 10 relationship with them, okay? So even if they feel any different, it's not how you feel. You feel them in complete love. Remember, it's our magnetism itself that brings about the type of people in our life, okay? If we see our mom with such great love, I can guarantee you're not going to have any animosity towards your mom anymore, right? That animosity energy won't be there. The only reason that animosity energy was there is because it was contaminated in our field, right? We've been living with it through years, and we were unaware about how to correct that. It's all about your magnetic fields. It's all about your fields of attraction. It's all about your fields of akasha, right? If they are crippled, if they are contaminated, if they are dirty, if they are chaotic, you are going to bring in the reciprocal of such people into your life because of the state of your magnetic field. This is what it all comes down to. You're a living frequency, okay? So if you have bullies in your life, and like I said, you're being the victim, you have this chaotic energy. You have this chaotic magnetic field. Your akashic field is in disarray because you've contaminated with all of these rigid beliefs, with all of these wounds, and it's like these gigantic spikes, right? There's nothing round and soft. It's all spiky and edgy, and it's distorted, and it's noisy, and it's like nails against a chalkboard, right? That is your energy. So we're working to correct that. We're working to soften all of that energy, and we soften that by what? Working with love energy, bringing ourselves to the 10 out of 10 on the scale. And now working with the love energy comes in and it softens those spikes. It softens those edges. It softens that chaos, right? We've contaminated ourselves. We've put ourselves into these positions where we attract people into our life that represent these bullies, these aggressors, what have you. Because that's exactly what we're putting up. Like I said, because you think you're a victim doesn't mean you're free of burden. Doesn't mean you're free of suffering. You're only just the extreme opposite pertaining to that of an aggressor, right? So the aggressor and the victim are both on the same level. Not one is over the other. Not one is beneath the other. They're both parallel, right? So you give up being a victim. You give up being an aggressor. You give up being a finger pointer. You give up being a blame maker, right? You're not blaming, you're not complaining, you're not fighting, you're not being aggressive, you're not being a bully, you're not being a victim. All of those things are in the pit, right? We have that deep, muddy pit, that tar pit. That's where people are. where they're aggressive, or they're fighting, where they get jealous, where they get angry, where they get sad, where they get fearful, because they're all riding life through this distortion, this chaos. Okay? So for us to come out of that, we got to lift our energy up. We got to move ourselves up into love energy. We're commanding that love energy to work together with our energy, because we're now willing to give up on those things. And Spirit knows exactly how to correct you completely. All Spirit is telling you is that, let me do it, right? Don't keep holding on to these addictions, to these desires that you have that are causing you chaos within yourself. Let it go, right? And this is what the love energy does. It lets it go, right? So now Spirit can come in and start repairing, can start moving itself back into the pure alignment of your being. Spirit knows how to do that. It perfects you, just like that, as long as you get out of your own way and you relinquish all those things that you know are not serving you. It's not helping anybody else. So why do we attach to it? Because of our vulnerability, because of our identity, because of our ego, because of our ignorance, right? That's what's looking to be shed here. That's what's looking to be purged away. So that when you're truly living through the heart, you have no longer played a game relating to blame, relating to aggression, relating to victimization. You've cleared it all out. You are now living through the heart. You're living inside, and you realize everything outside of you is a projection, right? So when we're working with our loved ones, when we're working with those major key players, that's all we're doing. We're observing these situations that we put down in point form through paragraph, and we're seeing how it relates to the three bodies. Now we have that information. Now we can go to work. Great, I took care of that situation with my mom, 10 out of 10. I feel wonderful, I feel amazing. She looks great. I could see her smiling, I could see her crying, and I just loved her even more and even more and even more. And even after the session, I decided to contact her and just say, I love you, and she's like, where did this all come from? So of course I love you too, but where did this all come from, right? And that can happen, right? So that's completely fine. So that's something that you're doing. And then you move on to the next key player, and then the next, and then the next, right? So as you do this a lot more, like I said, this is not a finish line race. This is not a competition. But as you continue to work with this a lot more, life is great. You now are on your way to having eternal life. Okay? This is what's actually making you immortal. And I mean that very literally. Okay? It's not the idea of immortality through a physical body. It is the idea that you are knowing what it is to have eternal life. And that nature of eternal life is happiness, right? It's the realization that you are beyond a body, that you are beyond the mind, that you always are, that you are the self, that you are God, right? This is really where it's bringing you into, right? And in time, you're going to see this as long as you continue to work with this daily, okay? This is your medicine. Love energy is your medicine. And so you're putting it into yourself. You're putting it into your variants. You're putting it into the major key players of your life circle. You're going to put it into the earth. You're going to put it into all these events taking place on the earth. And you will see, oh my goodness, love truly is the way. What is love? Love is God. Love is pure consciousness. Love is the pure self. This is the true medicine. All I've really had to realize was just learning to let go of these things and not keep holding on to them. It's the worst seductive addiction ever. It's the ego. The ego is that addiction. The ignorance is that addiction. The identity is that addiction. It's a mind control program. So once we get out of that and we realize we are pure love, we have no identity. Our true identity is love. Our true identity is God. Our true identity is true consciousness. Our true identity is the self, right? And like I said, that's your next stepping stone, moving into the non-dual, right? So we are going to talk about that a lot more in the next couple of days, okay? So continue to work together with wherever you are, right? If you're still doing personal healing with yourself, do it. Your present self, take care of it. If you're working with your variants, great, take care of it, right? You're moving on now into working with your life circle in the major key players, great, carry on, right? Just remember the importance of what love energy is. It's you. It's who you are. It's not something outside of yourself. It's something that you're accumulating within yourself because it's already there. You're waking it up, right? That's all you're doing. Your love energy has been dormant within yourself for quite some time because of ignorance and ego. So once we now start to accumulate that impression once again, our love energy comes back into the scene. It becomes active. It becomes aware. We're making our love energy aware. We're not getting it from anywhere. You are the love energy, right? So you're just realizing this now. You're bringing it back into your awareness. It's not something that you're grabbing out of the air, right? We may do that, right? Representing life force, but remember that we are everything. We are all. We pervade everything. So as we pervade everything, we are everything, and everything is love, right? And we're just bringing our realization into knowing that we are love. Love is inside you. Always has been, always will be. All right? Okay, guys. So thank you so much for being here today. Looks like everybody is good here on the chat. I don't see any questions here, to my knowledge. Yeah, Edith just says, thank you, Brad. I'll be going back to day 16 and moving forward at my own pace. Great. Yeah, like I said, guys, if by chance you miss a day, just add an extra day to your schedule. Okay, so just make sure you have those 30 days. If you miss a day, put an extra day at the end. Okay, so then you have 31 days or 32 days based if you missed a couple. But really what I'd recommend is really just work in making the BCR technique as natural a routine as possible, right? We get up in the morning, we dress ourselves. Okay, that's just something natural. Of course, I have to dress myself. I have to go out into the public. I'm not going to go out in public stark naked. Well, think of the BCR technique being as important as you dressing yourself or having a shower in the morning, right? Make it important. Make it a part of yourself. And the BCR technique doesn't have to take too long, right? Like I said, it's not a race, but it's not a very convoluted or complicated process either. You just want to give yourself a bit of time to work with the BCR technique, get yourself active, right? And just work with it. Make it a part of your daily, I wouldn't even say routine, but make it a part of your naturalness, okay? It's not about the idea of thinking that your love energy is a routine. Your love energy is you. That's who you naturally are, right? So just as you're taking care of the body, the love energy should actually even have much more of a heightening above the body because you're beyond the body. You're beyond the mind, right? So work each and every single day to make your love energy the most important thing in your life. If you can do that, you'll have no problem being able to do not only the BCR technique once a day, but multiple times per day. My love energy is so very important to me because look what it's doing. Look how I'm feeling. Look how healthy I'm feeling. Look at how my reality has changed. This is all because of love energy. Right? Isn't that important to me? So, don't you think that that deserves a lot more high priority? Right? That should go beyond your career. That should go beyond your finances. That should go beyond your bodily care. That should go beyond your mental care. Right? You have your love care because that's your nature. So, that's just something I encourage you guys to really look into. This should really take priority over many things in your life. Okay? So, work towards that. Thank you, everybody. And again, I will see you tomorrow for day number 26, as we're going to start now looking into environmental healing. Okay, so we're going to be looking into the life circle where it comes to environment and where it comes to the world. Okay, so that's what we're going to do tomorrow with day number 26, is seeing how we can direct our energy towards the world as a major key player as well, because that's the other major key player. All right, thank you, everybody, and see you tomorrow for tomorrow's broadcast. Take care and be well.